Something has been shifting in you lately. You feel things more deeply than you used to. You recognize beauty in the smallest moments. Tears begin to run down your face for no apparent reason. Not from sadness, but from a sense of joy or something that feels more like fullness. Maybe you're also beginning to sense things about people even before they speak. It's like you can see right through them. Or you find that what used to matter no longer holds the same weight. If this resonates with you, I want you to know that there's a name for what you're experiencing. It's called a spiritual awakening of the heart. And today, I want to walk you through the 5 unmistakable signs that this is exactly what is happening to you right now. As I describe each sign, I want you to really pay attention to what is happening in your body. Not just whether if it sounds familiar or whether something in you recognizes it, because these are not concepts to be understood. They're actually experiences that you have to feel. And so even if 2 or 3 land for you today, I want you to recognize that you're further along the path than you may even realize. Let's begin. The first sign is you feel a deep sense of connection with all of life. Not as a philosophy, not as something that you believe in, but as something that you actually feel moment to moment. So you notice the aliveness in nature. You feel genuine kinship with strangers that you meet on the street. You feel a sense of how your emotional state moves through people around you. The world starts to feel less like a collection of separate spaces and objects and more like a living, breathing whole that you are a part of. Dr. David Hawkins, one of my mentors and teachers, spent decades mapping levels of human consciousness. And one of the things that he observed is that when you reach a certain threshold, we are all connected remains an intellectual concept, something that you understand with your mind but don't actually experience. But when you reach the level of the heart, when the heart awakens, that exact same statement becomes a lived moment-to-moment reality. You don't decide to feel connected, you just simply are connected. The second sign is a dramatic rise in empathy and compassion. Your sensitivity begins to expand, not just to your own emotions, but to others. When someone is defensive, you find yourself sensing the fear or the pain beneath their defense rather than reacting to their surface behavior. When someone is struggling, you feel it as a genuine resonance deep in your own heart. It's not an overwhelming flood of feelings, but just a deep recognition of their human condition. And often I find that this expanding compassion begins also closer to home. So that inner critic, that harsh, relentless voice that has been judging you for every move all these years begins to soften, and then something more kind, more compassionate, more patient begins to replace it. It's not that you're becoming weak, it's that you're becoming more compassionate with yourself. The third sign is probably the hardest to put into words. You begin to experience love. But not love as an emotion, but as a state of being. It's not romantic love. It's not the type of love that you would feel for another person, though it may include aspects of that. But it's more like a stable, warm presence that doesn't depend on any circumstance. So you feel happy for no particular reason. You find beauty in places you never noticed before. The world begins to look and feel fundamentally safe and supportive underneath everything. I remember the exact moment that this type of love broke through me. I was in Cape Town, South Africa, volunteering for an organization that supported people who had been affected by HIV/AIDS. And I was surrounded by people who had experienced unimaginable loss. There were language barriers, cultural differences, every reason in the world for distance. And suddenly, none of that mattered. I felt inside of me a physical sensation in my chest, like the walls around my heart were cracking open. And what flooded in was something that I had never experienced before. It was an overwhelming sense of connection, of deep love, and not for any particular person, but for all of them, for the whole room, for all of life. And for the very first time in years, I felt genuinely present. And that was the moment that my heart began to awaken. If what I'm describing resonates with you, if you recognize yourself in these signs, I want you to know that there is a roadmap for exactly where you are right now. I have created a free resource called the Heart Mastery Starter Kit And it was built exactly for this moment, the moment when the heart begins to open. Inside, you're going to find the Heart Mastery Quiz to help you identify where you are right now on your journey, an introduction to the 4 stages of heart mastery, and a 17-minute guided meditation called Coming Home to Your Heart. This is the foundational practice for this entire journey. So if you are in this transition right now between what I call the hermit stage and the initiate who is experiencing heart awakening, this resource was made just for you. The link is in the description down below. The 4th sign is you begin to see the essence behind people, not just their surface. Something in you shifts in the way that you perceive others. Where before you saw behavior, you now sense the wound or the fear that lives beneath it. Where before you saw the mask, you now begin to sense the real person behind it. You develop what the Lakota spiritual tradition calls the single eye of the heart, a perception that looks past what is being presented to what is actually there. I can think of a woman that came to me in one of my heart mastery coaching sessions. This woman has spent years in deep conflict with her mother. Anger, distance, walls between them. And then one afternoon, something shifted. When she really saw, that her mother's coldness was not cruelty. It was the armor of a woman who had never learned that she was safe. And in that moment, the dynamic between them changed forever. Not because her mother changed, but because she had learned to see her differently. Now, this extends to yourself as well. You begin to recognize your own essential goodness beneath the layers of conditioning and learned behavior beyond your trauma. So self-acceptance becomes less of an effort and more of an inner recognition. And it's not that you are ignoring reality, you're seeing more of it. The 5th sign is synchronicities begin to increase and life begins to feel like it's in flow. Meaningful coincidences start arriving with surprising frequency. So you think of someone and they call you, you need something and it appears. The right book finds you exactly at the right moment. I remember a season of deep questioning in my own journey when I was wondering whether if any of the work that I was doing truly mattered, whether I was reaching anyone. And that same week, completely unplanned, 3 people reached out to me independently from different countries, different backgrounds, telling me that a guided meditation that I had recorded years earlier had really changed their life forever. In fact, one of them told me it had saved their life. Not 3 messages in 3 months, but 3 messages in 3 days. When the heart opens, the universe begins to speak more clearly. Decision becomes more intuitive. Instead of exhausting every option, analytical, trying to do it all with your head, you find yourself knowing exactly what to do. There's a felt sense of either expansion or contraction, of alignment or resistance. So you know which direction is right. And so life starts to feel less like something that you're pushing through and more like something that you're moving with. If you're recognizing yourself in these 5 signs, I want you to understand something important. What you're experiencing has a name, and it also has a very specific place on a map. In the Heart Mastery framework that I have developed over nearly 20 years, the journey of the heart moves through 4 distinct stages. The hermit, the initiate, the warrior, and the leader. And what you're experiencing right now, these signs of opening, of connection, of sensitivity, flow, this is the transition from the hermit into the initiate. It's the heart beginning to truly come alive after many years of being protected behind walls that you build from old wounds and old conditioning. And it's not happening to you by accident. It's something that is meant for you. The heart awakens when it's ready, and yours is ready. So trust that. Now, if you are in this opening right now and everything feels beautiful and expansive, wonderful, stay with it. Continue to nurture that feeling. But if you're experiencing these signs and then you find that suddenly it feels like your heart has closed again, like something contracted overnight, like you lost what you found, then I want you to know that that is completely normal, even has a name. And in my next video, I'm going to explain exactly what it is, what I call the heart closing, why it happens right after an awakening, what it truly means, and the specific practices that will help you move through it rather than against it. So I would love to hear your comments. Have you experienced this kind of spiritual awakening, heart awakening? What were some of the first signs for you? How did you navigate it? And if you know someone that is going through this shift right now without having yet the language for what they're feeling, would you please do me a favor and share this video with them? Because sometimes the most healing thing that you can offer another person is simply the knowledge that what they are experiencing has a name. The Heart Mastery Starter Kit is free and it's in the description. And it's the perfect companion for wherever you are on this path right now. Until the next time, please remember to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. I send you all of my love from my heart to yours. Bye-bye for now.